Interactive Wrestling Radio, and joining us on the line right now is an OVW diva, TAELER Hendrix. TAELER, are you with us?
I am, and we're knockouts.
You're knockouts over at OVW, that's right. I forgot. I'm sorry about that. So, you guys are down in OVW now, and there's been some shakeups down there. You guys used to be a WWE training facility. Now you guys are working a little bit closer with TNA. How is everything going down in OVW right now?
It is going awesome. We have just a super amount of opportunities going on right now with Ring of Honor, WWE, and TNA. OVW is the best spot on the indies right now because we have all three major companies taking talent and looking at us for talent.
Absolutely. And that comes from your trainers, and I told you in an email that we just spoke to Rip Rogers about a year ago, and I got to tell you, I was always a fan of him, so it was a real treat for me to talk to him. You know, you guys have, I believe Eugene is training down there still, Nick Dinsmore, is that correct?
Yes, he is.
Very good, and that's got to be great. You know, it's kind of the premier place to go and I won't say train because I think that's inappropriate, but really perfect your craft. Would that be appropriate?
There's both. I mean, there is something going on at OVW almost every single day of the week, like literally 7 days a week. There's probably something going on. Eugene, or Nick Dinsmore, he does the beginner's class. So if you've never wrestled before or you've barely wrestled, you'll start off in his class. And once you have that training or you've had enough training out on other indies that is acceptable, you will go then to Rip Rogers' class, which is every weekend. And also Al Snow does classes from time to time, and he goes over TV.
Right.
So this classes Al Snow as well. And, you know, you also have Danny Davis in the mix, and you have TNA coming down, and another one of our talent just got taken to WWE, and one or two other people just got signed to Ring of Honor. So we have TNA Developmental down here. So there is something going on almost every single day of the week. I mean, we have house shows during the week and on the weekends. We have Saturday Night Special the first Saturday of every month, and then we have TV every Wednesday.
Now, I mentioned that you're down in OVW now, and you now live in Kentucky, am I right?
Yes, correct.
So that's a serious jump from where you started from up in Oregon, correct?
I am from New England. I'm not from Oregon.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought you were from Oregon. Okay, so you're from New England, but now you're down in, so this is obviously something you're taking very seriously, and you're very serious about your craft, am I right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Very cool. Well, I got to tell you, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the YouTube clips, and I used to get a guy who sent me the OVW TV tapings, but unfortunately he went through some personal stuff. But I've seen some of your stuff, and it's really impressive, and I do wish you the best of luck. I guess my next question is, how does a normal human being get involved in such an abnormal line of work?
Well, first off, thank you. That was really awesome of you to say. Getting started in this line of work, oh my goodness. Jeez Louise. It's really different for every person who gets into it. I mean, it's definitely different for a female than what it is for a male. I mean, the opportunities are different. I mean, sometimes, you know, if you have this certain female anatomy, you just get put on a show, and then, you know, maybe you'll pick up wrestling later. For me, I was really drawn to wrestling at a young age because I wasn't allowed to watch it, you know. You want to spite your parents and watch it anyway. And I remember I saw this one particular clip on the television on Christmas Eve, and from there I was hooked. And then I tried to go to training with Bob Evans, and a couple years later I finally made it in, and I've been working really hard ever since.
Very good. Do you remember what the clip was?
Yes, I do. I'll never forget it.
What was it?
So basically I had these old 1970s bunk beds, so you can imagine little me up in my top bunk, and I'm watching this little TV, flipping through the channels even though I know I'm supposed to be sleeping. And someone's told me it was 1999 when I told them what clip it was, but I could be wrong, or they could be wrong, I should say. I turned on the TV, found the channel where The Rock is cutting this promo, and the crowd of people at that arena were just going nuts. They were bawling. They were insane. Like, I thought they were going to jump the barrier. And all of a sudden, this sound, and this countdown begins on this huge Titantron, and you can imagine where I'm going with this. It was the debut of Chris Jericho into the WWE Vets. And I remember exactly what he said, and, well, not word for word, but I remember what he said, and just the reaction the crowd had and The Rock had. It was just like this huge explosion in the arena. And when I saw that, I was just like, wow, I have to do this. Like, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And from there, I was hooked. I was like, they're athletic. There's athleticism. They get to perform in front of millions of people. They get to act. They get to do all these things. And it just seemed like the most amazing thing in the world to me, and I had to be a part of it.
That's awesome, and that really is an incredible story. So now you are a part of it, and you mentioned some of the guys that you're working under, and obviously being a female, like you said, there's different opportunities available to you. What is your primary goal? Obviously, working for OVW, that has kind of the most window of opportunity. What window of opportunity are you hoping opens?
Well, right now I'm hoping for the TNA door to fully open for me. I've been working really hard with them and on myself to be ready for that. And I think my ultimate goal is to one day make it to the WWE. I think that's the ultimate goal for a lot of people in this business, and I guess I fit the mold for that. That's what I ultimately would like to do.
Very good. And what do you think of the two main company divisions for women, the TNA Knockouts and the WWE Divas? Obviously, they're a little bit different. TNA, I guess you could say, is a little bit more in-ring based, whereas WWE's maybe a little bit more towards the look department, maybe?
Well, I'm going to play the political game and not say bad things about the companies I'm hoping to get opportunities from.
You
I'll
learn
play
well.
it smart. Oh, I do. I learn from other people's mistakes. But, yes, they both are very different. That's a great observation. I would like to be a part of both of those. Hopefully, I'll get the opportunity. That'll be a great opportunity to work for both. I do agree to a certain extent that, some of WWE is outside, whereas some of TNA is in-ring. But they both have wrestling, and they both have great talent. It's just a matter of how and what they have, what the opportunity is, what's going on. Not the situations in both companies aren't the same, and I think that's what a lot of people forget. So I would be lucky to have an opportunity with either or both of those companies, best case scenario.
Very good. Now, one of your most talked about matches was when you actually got to defeat the lady who now performs as Karma. How was it for you being I don't want to say smaller, but not being somebody of her stature, going against somebody of her size and strength? Was that something impressive to get in the ring with?
I was very intimidated. I will not lie. I will not put myself over. I was extremely intimidated. I'm normally back home. I was one of the taller girls, if not one of the tallest. I think the only person who may have been taller than me back home may have been Barbie. And I think maybe we were the same height, and maybe I was a quarter of an inch taller, So all the rest of the girls were shorter than me. I towered over a lot of them. So when I have to go in the ring with somebody who towers over me, it was definitely an experience I will not forget. I had to bring my A game. She didn't give me any leeway. I had to bring it all in. Surprisingly, I did sneak one on her, and I got the win, which was really awesome. Up until that point, that was the biggest win of my career, and I learned so much from it. So overall, it was a very awesome experience, and yes, it did give me a lot of exposure that I'm very thankful for.
And Patrick Kelly, by the way, my co-host, is on the line. Patrick, are you with us?
Yes. Hello there, Taylor. How are you doing tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Got a couple questions here for you. You talked about the great talent that is in TNA and WWE with their women's division. If you got an opportunity with TNA or WWE, who are some of the talents you'd like to work with, obviously, besides a rematch with Karma, which would be an interesting one?
Well, I would have to say the number one person I would want to work with is the person I grew up watching on TV, and whenever she was on the TV, I just never wanted to look away. It was Victoria. Growing up when I was a kid, I loved watching her matches. I was just always fascinated by her. So I would say she's the number one person that I would hands down love to work. Let's see. I would love to work with most of those ladies because they're all different, so they all bring something different to the table, which means they would all bring something different out of me. But she is definitely number one. I would also love to work with Mickie James and Beth Phoenix, Natalya, Angel Williams, and so forth. So.
Awesome. And I guess the next question I have for you is, you worked ROH, and that's a little bit of a tougher audience. They kind of have more of I'd say their following is a little bit more like the Japanese crowd, where they are very, very in-ring style. And was it harder to work in front of the ROH audience as it is to get in there in the OVW audience?
Oh, yes, it was. They hated me. I don't think there's ever anything I admitted on a radio interview, but yeah, a lot of the Ring of Honor fans, they were not too happy with me being brought in. I think they only wanted one redhead at the time, and the only redhead they wanted to see was Raina Von Tosh. But I'm different from her, and I bring something new to the table, and I think if I got another chance with Ring of Honor, because I hear supposedly that they're starting at the women's division. I'll be really excited if that's true. And if it is, I would be very excited to be a part of it and actually get the chance to show them what I'm capable of and what I can do, because even though I was there for, I think, like 5 TV tapings, I really didn't get to showcase what I'm capable of, so I would really like that opportunity. And I would love to get the opportunity to work with Veda Scott, because even though she's announcing right now and commentating, she has a lot of talent as well. As far as my time at Ring of Honor, it was difficult, it was different, but it was a great learning experience, and I got to meet a lot of great people who work differently than I do. And that helped me learn a lot, and it helped me make some really cool connections, and it helped me learn different audiences and how to work on TV matches and dark matches and all kinds of different scenarios that I didn't have working the indies back home. So that was definitely a major accomplishment.
Well, going back to the way that the Ring of Honor fans reacted to you, if it makes you feel any better, I do recall them once booing Zach Gallen. So they are a tough crowd to play in front of.
Well, thank you. That did help a little. I mean, to be fair, you can't lump everybody together. I hate when people do that. Some fans were really nice, and, you know, they requested me and said nice things. It was really nice to hear, but, you know, you got to take the good with the bad.
There you go. Well, I got to tell you, I really did want to get the opportunity to interview you. I do kind of see that you would be a perfect fit. You know, I told Patrick off the air, I think that you'd be a perfect fit for TNA because they like that kind of look, but also like that you can go. And I think that that would be kind of the perfect fit for you. And you mentioned a little bit that you're making inroads into that direction. Did I hear that?
Oh, yes. I think a lot of people here at OVW, well, I started, like, getting in, as you put it, roads with when I was back home, but it didn't really get set into motion until I came to OVW. I think everybody's on the TNA radar, you know. Not to say that I'm not anything special, but being at OVW definitely helped me get a leg ahead compared to other people that aren't at OVW. Because, I mean, we're now the developmental, and they're sending talent to us, and, you know, they're looking at us more, and it's just a great opportunity, and I plan to take advantage of the opportunity and keep working hard and show them what I have, and then if I get the opportunity, work even harder to keep it.
Very cool. Last week you actually did I think it was a dark match, where you were in a 6-person tag match, and you ended up on the other side of the ring of Al Snow's wife, Cindy Snow, Bobcat. Is that kind of like a test for you to be in the ring with one of the main trainers or one of the guys, you know, wives, and make sure that you impress her so she doesn't say anything bad to the trainer guy?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a way of spicing up the roster because I'm the new girl, but I'm the only other new one. So sometimes they try to bring in other women, and Bobcat Barbie Bardot was just happened to be somebody new, somebody refreshing that the OVW audience hasn't seen. So it was definitely a challenge for me and a challenge for her as well because, you know, it's always a challenge when you haven't wrestled somebody before. You don't know their style. You don't know how far they can go. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was definitely an experience for me, and it's still an experience because she's not going anywhere. And it helps me because I've never wrestled her before, and she's bigger than me, so I'm the underdog, and it just brings out the best in me. And I'm definitely working to bring out the best in her because I'm the champion. I have to hold on to that in any way possible.
Very cool. It's got to be cool to have that belt around your waist, right?
It's definitely an experience. My first ever title, so.
Very cool. Well, I got to tell you.
How heavy are those belts? Because I've been told they're heavier than they look.
They are much heavier than they look. I will never wear it around my waist.
Is that hard? You guys don't travel much, so you haven't had to put it through the airport security or anything yet, have you?
No, OVW does a lot of shows around like the Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio area, but they are branching out more now. Now that the houses and stuff are under new management by Trailer Park Trash, he does an excellent job. And when I do outside shows other than OVW, I don't bring my belt. just in case.
Very cool. That'll be interesting to see how you get through airport security with a big gold belt like that. That'd be pretty interesting to see how the security guards would react to that. But anyway, I got to tell you, it's been great having you on the show. And is there anything you'd like to say, both to your fans and where people can catch up on your upcoming events, calendar, and updates from you?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for letting me do that. Coming up, OVW has a bunch of shows coming up. This Friday night we'll be in Frankfort, Kentucky. Saturday night, OVW will be in E-Town, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And Sunday we'll be back in Louisville at the Expo 5. And then plus we have TV tomorrow night. And Saturday Night Special is coming up on March 3rd. There's going to be a lot of stuff that the OVW fans will not want to miss. I can guarantee it. And they can catch up with me and any other events at www.ovwrestling.com. And to specifically get in contact with me, you can go to www.facebook.com/TaelerHendrix or youtube.com/TaelerHendrix. And if you are so inclined and you really want updates from me, like faster, you can always go to twitter.com/Taeler_Hendrix, and then you can also like my athlete page. That's pretty much it.
There you go. Last question for you. The Hendrix in your name, where did that come from? Where did you decide to bring Hendrix into the picture?
No, kudos to you guys. Nobody has ever asked me that on a radio interview.
Well, I got to tell you, I had two thoughts in mind, and maybe either of them are both wrong. I saw you mention Michael Hayes in the past, and he used to be Doc Hendrix way back when. And then I remember, obviously, Jimi Hendrix, so I'm not sure where you would have gotten it from. So.
I am a very big environmental person. A lot of people in wrestling don't know that I am actually a political science major, and I used to run environmental campaigns up and down New England. And I am one of the people that helped pass the GWSA Act that passed in the Senate and the House of Representatives. So working through that, my name kind of became Taeler Hendrix when I started wrestling because I've always had a hippie personality. I'm always very environmentally oriented, and a referee/booker back home by the name Rich Bass actually saw my gimmick and really liked what I had to offer and gave me the last name Hendrix, and from there it was the beginning of the Taeler Hendrix experience, the One Girl Revolution.
Very good. Very good. Well, I'm glad we got to ask you something nobody else has, and I'll tell you what, anytime you have anything else to promote, you're always welcome to come back, and I told you it'd be about 15 minutes, so that's about the time we're at, and thanks so much for spending this much time with us. If you ever have anything else you want to promote, just give us a call, and we'd be happy to do that for you.
Thank you so much.
Well, wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be seeing you on Impact Wrestling here soon.
Oh, awesome. Please plug that. You guys have a great night. Thank you for asking me to do the interview.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to WrestlingEpicenter.com, Interactive Wrestling Radio. It is James Walsh, joined, as always, by Mr. Patrick Kelly.
Yo!
And Mr. Nick Knoll.
Fuck Shane Douglas.
And Nick still likes Shane Douglas so much after last week's interview. I'd love to have these two on the line at the same time. I think it would be a lot of fun. But we just finished up with Taeler Hendrix. In fact, we recorded that interview last week. It kind of took us a little longer to get the recap show here dialed up than we wanted it to, but it was a really fun interview with Taeler Hendrix. I wish her the best of luck. Anytime you get an attractive female who can actually work, I'm all for them. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't sure what to expect when we got on the phone with her, if she'd be a little ditzy or if she would have her faculties together and be really intelligent. And actually, she's very intelligent, answered the questions very down the line, politically correct, and she really seems to be managing her career by not stepping on anybody's toes really well, and that's definitely a positive in the wrestling business.
Well,
the wrestling business. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, I think it's they always say this business is a Shark Tank. All it takes is one guy not liking you or one guy being an asshole his whole career to everyone he encounters, and he never gets a chance, and he's a bitter old man running reunion shows after working at Targets.
Ouch, you are really going after Shane Douglas.
I don't know. Shane Douglas has a doctorate, doesn't he? I mean, I don't think he needs to work at Target.
Okay, well, it could be worse. It could be Steve Corino.
Now, I don't dislike Steve Corino, but what's the deal with him?
he's an asshole. I'm not going to go any further into it. He's just a fat old man working in the minor leagues of the business, and he's an asshole to fans. And I don't mean like he's an asshole to get heel heat. He's an asshole because he's an asshole.
Don't know why you would feel that way, but the only thing that I disliked about it is before the interview one time with Steve Carino, he basically told me, so I'm going to work an angle with you. And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, me and Teddy Hart are actually friends, but we're going to work an angle. Don't say nothing. All right. So in the interviews we worked together, I was fully aware of the fact that both of them were working off one another by completely obliterating the other in the interview, just saying god-awful things about them.
Where's Teddy Hart now?
Probably somewhere flying in the cosmos. With Jeff Hardy not showing up at Impact.
Well, apparently he had food poisoning.
He's got food poisoning, yeah. When was the last time food poisoning caused you to have dried blood under your nose?
Really? Where did you see this?
I'm being sarcastic, dude. Look, it's the first thing you're going to think about when you got somebody like Hardy, but to be honest with you...
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is the first thing you're going to think about. You don't need to make any more comments about it.
Why not?
Well, I mean, if the food poisoning story was about AJ, I don't think anybody would question the validity of it.
But
right?
No,
Fair?
He feels better soon. If AJ Styles has food poisoning, I hope he feels better soon. Boy, I hope nobody else ate it. Jeff Hardy being the only one who has food poisoning. All right. No. He's probably hit the pill bottle or something crazy again. And maybe that makes me an asshole that I feel that way. But people don't change. Public perspective does. And I don't believe that this guy's changed. And frankly, I don't believe that he's changed because of 10 different opportunities to change, and he still hasn't.
Yeah, and we've been saying this since he came back to the WWE in 2006. And so this has been going on a long time. We keep saying, it's like, look, I just keep waiting for him to fuck up, and sooner or later, it happens. This one wasn't a major fuck up, but the food poisoning story might be true. I don't know. It's just that, Hardy kind of destroyed his credibility.
If it's true, then fine, but
because
his track record, even with TNA, his track record is not good. I mean...
Well, his track record's terrible.
I'll say this, though. The nature of this business where things get leaked, small things get leaked all the time, do you honestly think that if it was, oh man, Jeff screwed up again, you don't think there'd be more stories about it out there saying, oh, food poisoning was the official reason, but there's a lot of people that think he was doing something. I haven't seen any stories like that yet.
There hasn't been that many stories about the original Randy Orton injury being a work or a cover-up by the company, but lo and behold, he returned after 30 days. Boy, that injury was convenient.
All right, well...
That's a good point. You know what? I didn't even think of that, James.
I do believe in that case they're protecting him because they definitely do not want to release him. And I'm not saying that they don't want to release him because they don't want him to go to TNA, because as much as I'd love to say that he'd make a difference, I don't think he's that big of a star to make a difference, but I think that they definitely do not want to give them any fodder. So he's on like strike 2.3 or 2 9/10 or whatever it is they're going to go with. When you're starting to get, if you don't do what I say in 3 seconds, 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 2 9/10, I'm really serious.
Well, I famously remember, what was it, a couple of years ago where he got sent home for, like, behavioral issues, where, he was absolutely, out of control backstage. And
he pulled a Charlie Sheen, essentially, yeah.
They sent him home, and unfortunately, it's part of the same reason we talk about Jeff Hardy, where people let him get away with shit. Well, they sent him away, and then they called him back 28 days later saying, well, we have this spot on a pay-per-view where Kurt Angle's going to do an open challenge. We're going to put you in it, Randy. Okay.
Yeah, was that when he trashed the hotel room?
One of the times, I assume it was one of the times he trashed his hotel room, or some diva turned him down backstage. I mean, somebody made a great comparison saying Randy Orton is essentially Reese from Malcolm in the Middle. The difference is that Randy is a 250-pound man, unlike not a kid playing a role on television.
That's a great comparison. He even kind of looks like him a little bit.
Here's what I'm going to say, guys, and I'm going to go fairly quickly into this show, but I wanted to discuss one thing. Now, we just had TAELER Hendrix on the show, and I want to discuss one thing. Basically, I want to ask you guys, what is or what should be the role of women in the wrestling business today? And I asked that on the heels of an Impact show that was very knockout heavy. There was 2 segments with the knockout matches and a couple of backstage segments, so they were pretty knockout
commercials.
Heavy. And commercials?
Yeah, they did those, like, Shop TNA commercials, and, they were, knockouts in basketball uniforms being all sexy and shit.
Which just kind of replaces knockouts in like lingerie from the Valentine and the Christmas shoots.
Yeah.
And they did the football jersey one for the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're not bad shots. If you haven't checked it out, check out TNA's website because they do have, like, Mickie James does the photo shoots too, which I wouldn't have thought she would do, but she does. So, not a bad thing.
James, no offense, I love Mickie James, but there were pictures of her jacking a guy off with her foot, so I don't think doing a few sexy shoots for TNA is beneath her. I'm just saying, I love Mickie James, and I wish that was my, thing that her foot was stroking, but, I'm just saying, it's like, no, I'm not shocked that she does photo shoots with TNA wrestling.
She brings a new meaning to the phrase chick kick.
Say what?
Never mind. Anyway.
Oh boy. We have gone into what I assume was a very nice interview with an up and coming, talented young lady from the couple of clips.
By the way, Nick, you'll be glad to know is actually in the running to get to TNA, and is a huge fan of Tara in TNA. And she's in the running to go to TNA as she works for OVW with OVW and TNA's new deal. She's one of the ones that TNA is definitely interested in bringing in for the Knockouts division. So it could be very soon. Certainly, I hope by the summer that you'll be actually seeing her on Impact Wrestling.
Well, that'd be great. And kind of getting back to your point, James, about what should be the role for women in wrestling today.
Yeah, I was going to let me finish off the segue. Basically, my thought is, there's schools of thought on it. Some schools of thought say they don't belong in there at all. Some schools of thought say, well, they should be wrestlers and stay wrestlers. Some schools of thought are that they should be, sex symbols. And I don't want to imply that that's what a former member of the site who just had her second child, by the way, Francine, was, but like a sex symbol like that, where they're a valet rather than an actual in-ring performer. There's different schools of thought on it, and I'm curious what your guys' school of thought is.
Well, I'll say this. I think it's ridiculous to say they have no role in wrestling, but I actually can see why they'd be in both, where you can have women that are wrestlers. You have that type, and, we were just talking Mickie James. She is a very, very good wrestler. Gail Kim, Victoria. They are very capable of getting in the ring and having a great match, and I want to see that. I enjoy watching women's wrestling, especially when you have women that are capable of having really good matches. That said, you can also have a Francine type. You can have a God rest her soul. Yeah, Sensational Sherry, God rest her soul, Nancy Benoit. The pretty girl in the sexy dress is going to pass the brass knucks to the heel, be the distraction, bend over the top rope. That can have its element. I mean, that has been a great way to get heat or generate a response for a wrestler for years. There's no problem with having that element in there. My problem is when they kind of start crossing the lines, or you have a girl, great example is Kelly, who is a very, very attractive girl. She is a model. She is gorgeous. That said, she does not take the wrestling business seriously. She is looking to do what Stacy Keibler did, and that's,
She wants to bone George Clooney?
Bone George Clooney?
Yeah.
We went to the same place at the same time. By the way, Joan Rivers' best line of the week last week. I got to interrupt Nick with a very good, well thought out response with a completely bullshit one. Stacy Keibler went with George Clooney to the Oscars, and she wore a gold dress. And Joan Rivers had the line of the week when she said, it's a beautiful gold dress, just like the wedding ring she'll never receive.
Well, all right, well, getting back to the conversation, you can have the hot girl. My problem is when you have someone like Kelly, who does not belong in a wrestling ring. She doesn't train. There's a story that when they sent her to OVW, she kind of threw a hissy fit like, I don't want to live in Louisville, Kentucky and work out every day, you know. And they essentially said, well, okay, you know, let her get away with it. She isn't a serious wrestler. She can't have great matches. Don't put her in
the ropes right.
Don't put her in matches. Don't have her headline. This past week on Monday, she couldn't do an Oklahoma roll, for God's sakes. I mean, don't put her in that position. But if you want to put her in a position where she is, just an example, Drew McIntyre's valet, and you know she's going to get involved. She's going to get involved and cause trouble. You know, a la Sunshine, a la Precious with gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. That's fine.
Kind of like Jimmy Hyatt in a way.
Exactly. There's always going to be a place for that element in wrestling. I think it's highly underused. Managers in general are underused. I wish they would get back. My issue is, again, when you see these women like Alicia fucking Fox, who I swear to God is going to kill somebody in the ring, you know, getting these huge opportunities. I'm like, okay, we've got women that can wrestle. Let them wrestle, and use the models as just models. Don't have them wrestle. Yes, you know.
And I'm going to interrupt now, and I'll let Patrick give his take in a sec. My thoughts on the role of women in wrestling is basically the same as Nick's. There's a role for them in different facets. They don't have to just be put into one role. But it seems like right now the role is you're going to be a wrestler. If you were and ironically in the stage of wrestling where nobody's a wrestler, we're all entertainers, they don't use them in that role. They all have to be wrestlers. Here's my take. You know, it depends. With the talent base that the WWE has, aside from Natalya and Beth Phoenix and whatever Snooker's daughter's name, I never remember her name.
Carmina.
Good.
Mina, yeah.
Put her in that.
Good. There's a couple of good ones, except for those few core talents. The majority of them should be used in managerial roles, if not used at all. That said, you know, I mentioned Francine a minute ago. You know, we might describe her as one of the model types, but she actually took bumps. She took, you know, power bombs through the tables before it was protected and done in WWE, and things like that. So I don't want to pretend that, she was just a Barbie doll, because that's not what her role was at all. But
no. She got her ass kicked. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, exactly. Every show she was getting her ass kicked.
Exactly, and
right.
that was cool, because ECW was the only show at the time that did that. It was the first of its kind to do that. So my opinion is, honestly, they could be used in different facets, but if you don't have any that are any good, they should go away. Like, in my opinion, Impact Wrestling has great workers, but there's no cause for a tag title.
Oh, well, yeah.
And like Cookie probably, I don't know, is Cookie a worker?
Well, Cookie's gone.
Cookie is actually still employed there. She just hasn't been on TV in forever.
No, I'm pretty sure she got let go.
Did they? Because they re-signed her right after she left TV. They re-signed her to a deal. Did they let her out of that deal?
I guess she hasn't been on TV since last year. So
yes, that whole thing was she split, which is probably a good thing, because as a guy from New Jersey, I hate the Jersey Shore, and I don't like anybody thinking that I'm not JWoww, I'm not JWall, I'm not anything like that.
I would hope you're not.
What's that?
I would hope you're not, since JWoww's a woman, and you would have to be the deepest voiced woman I've ever heard.
Ah, yeah, golden.
He has to be Sammy.
Hey.
That's why they call me Sammy, baby. The peak of Mark Henry's career.
To essentially give you my perspective is that if you got women that could work, great. But let those be the workers, and let's not have to point out that they're attractive, because I have eyes and I can tell. And use the ones who can't work, like Alicia Fox, as eye candy. Use them as the bend over the ropes ones that just carry stuff to the ring for the guys. Let them be that role, the SoCal Val role, essentially.
Well, not even that. I mean, it's fine. I'll say again to use someone like Francine, where, I mean, she's always said this about herself. Her gimmick was, you got the belt, I'll sleep with you. If you don't have the belt, my legs clamp shut. And that got a lot of heat for a lot of guys, and it was a perfect role for her.
Right.
You know, obviously you can't go that way since it's supposed to be a PG show, but there, you know.
Well, they seem to be breaking that now, so.
Yeah,
I mean, they're doing it sort of with ease, but not well because she can't act worth a lick.
Oh,
yeah, I
God.
can tell. She cries, and it's like, should I feel bad for her, or is she? Because it gives you mixed emotions, and it shouldn't. The character should be a bitch. You should hate her.
Yeah,
her acting is terrible. I don't buy the acting at all. It's just she's a lousy performer.
Yeah. As I said, I've seen
low soap opera acting. Let's be honest.
No, it's on
is a better actor than these people.
Oh, it's on soap opera acting. It's not that bad. It's not that cheesy. This is a bad parody of soap opera acting.
Well, basically, this is the last era of soap opera acting, unless things change.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, even SoapNet, and I don't know why the hell we're discussing this, but even SoapNet, which is the all-day soap opera channel, is closing down and is going to become Disney Junior, which essentially is the morning lineup of the Disney Channel all day long.
Okay.
Really,
I've heard that Vince McMahon is having trouble getting the WWE Network off the ground.
Yeah,
There's an article about it in the New York Post.
Yeah, apparently they haven't gotten any deals with cable companies or satellite dish companies to actually carry said network. So what that basically means is they're filming stuff, they're ready to go, or they're getting ready to go, but there's no one that's willing to say, well, okay, we'll pick up your signal and broadcast it into, homes.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, you got MLB Network, you have NBA Network, NHL Network, NFL Network. You got all these networks for these massively popular sports that millions of people watch, and wrestling is more of a niche audience. And the question is, would there be enough of an audience to carry a 24-hour network of it? I mean, I'd watch it. I'd have it on all the time, but...
Whoa.
That's us.
Yeah.
But I'll throw my 2 cents in on the women, or do you want to continue talking about the network?
You have your 2 cents, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'm going to mimic what you all say, basically, in that it really depends on the performer. If she can wrestle, let her wrestle. And WWE, I mean, they put the belt on Beth Phoenix, who's the best option by far. But far too often, I see Kelly wrestle the Bellas every week, and it's terrible because they're not wrestlers. So there you go. And there are a lot of other examples like that. If they can wrestle, let them wrestle. If they look good on somebody's arm, let them do that. If they can cut a promo, let them do that. You don't have to have a fixed role for everybody. It really should depend on the performer, which is the same thing with guys, really, if you think about it. And And one more point I wanted to make is that I do believe that there is a place for women in wrestling because I think there are a chance, the guys will spend their money on the sexy photo shoots and shit like that. They will tune in to see the hot chicks. And whether they're wrestlers or whether they're arm candy or what. Also, I do believe that if you have a strong female character, you can draw in some female fans as well. And hopefully that'll work. I don't know. Because, a lot of girls really looked up to Trish Stratus and Lita when they were at their peak.
Exactly. And I'll also use Trish Stratus as an example. She was a woman that was brought in originally really as, kind of let's be honest, she was hired because she was fucking drop-dead gorgeous. And her original role was, she was the arm candy piece. Now, when they started putting her in wrestling matches, she started learning. She trained. She got better. So if you do have a situation like that where one of the arm candy girls starts becoming pretty decent in the ring, absolutely give her a chance in the ring. But it's just Just like, I'm sick of seeing the Bella Twins versus Kelly and her partner of the week.
Yeah. And the Trish Stratus thing, Trish Stratus probably is what caused this. Well, Trish is probably what caused this because they thought, hey, Trish did it. Let's try and find the next Trish Stratus. It's kind of like why they keep breaking up tag teams, because it's like, hey, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels came from tag teams. Let's break them up and see if we can make a star out of one of the
tag teams that last for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Well, that's the thing that they don't realize.
Well, also, Patrick, they did once put the women's championship on Sable, and that was long before Trish Stratus showed up. So,
well, she was the only option. Well, I mean, they brought the belt.
Luna was there, and her dream was to be women's champion. And guess what? She never did. She was never women's champion, and that's a goddamn disaster.
Well, that is. But you know, when Sable had the women's title, it was her, Luna, and Jacqueline, and then there was Tori. So it was only like 4 girls. They brought the belt in just to put it on Sable.
They did.
They didn't have much of a women's
Terry
division.
Terry was there too, but she was never a worker.
Oh, she wasn't a wrestler. Yeah, she didn't.
She was. They did things in the ring with her, but she was never a wrestler.
Yeah.
So it was like they basically created the women's division and they brought back the women's title just to put it on Sable. And you know, say what you want, but Sable was mad over.
Yeah, she was. And then apparently she made a lot of people mad backstage.
Oh, well, that, yeah. She was also the first one to, use her wrestling career to springboard into Hollywood. And that really paid off well, didn't it?
Yeah, she was on, I remember this, and like after she left, one night I was flipping through the TV, and there was Sable on television. She was appearing on a show called Relic Hunter, which was some shitty little syndicated television show. Mm-hmm. I believe that's her only credit.
I remember that show. Tia Carrere, who was Cassandra from Wayne's World, she was the star of that show. It was a shitty show, but I just remember that Cassandra was there.
Yep.
Is James on the line? James?
Whoa.
I think he left.
All right.
You there?
He'll probably. Yeah, I'm still here. He'll probably pop up in like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Okay.
Somehow.
Crazy. So, what were we going to talk about for the rest of the show?
Well, I mean, we could talk a little bit about Impact. I thought it was a decent episode. I thought there were some periods that kind of dragged at times, and it really wasn't a show like where it's like, oh my God, that was so great. I'm absolutely so excited for next week. I thought it was decent. Yeah,
I mean, it didn't leave much of an impression on me, to be perfectly honest, overall, good or bad. It was just kind of just a normal paint-by-numbers episode, inoffensive, but didn't really do a whole lot for me either. I was telling you off the air, I really felt like they kind of missed the boat with the Robert Roode, Austin Aries, Bully Ray angle. I felt like that was probably something they could have built up for a few weeks instead of just, have them get more and more supporters as the show goes. Not build a stable, but just like have Robert Roode try to weasel out of this match with Sting by building up all these supporters to probably get Sting ousted from the company. And that bit they did there where they stood in the ring and tried to call Sting out or whatever probably should have been done on the Go Home show.
Yeah. But we'll see what happens. I personally kind of think that, if you want to do a stable, Aries and Roode might make a pretty decent grouping together because they do kind of have similar gimmicks. And Roode always says, I'm the leader of the selfless generation. Well, there's a guy who kind of fits that role. It would definitely be Aries.
Well, I wouldn't be a fan of a full-fledged stable because I feel like TNA's done that angle way too many times. And WWE, we already lived through fucking Nexus and everything. So, no more stables for a long time. All right, the NWO is dead. Stop trying to recreate it. Or, 4 Horsemen, how many reincarnations of that are we going to get? But it would have been, to see, like, loose alliances would have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I guess they might actually be going for that. We'll see what kind of happens. It seems like they kind of have that with Rude and Bully Ray, where it's like they're heels, they're on the same side of the fence, so they'll work together when they have to, but Ray kind of makes it clear, hey, look, I get a chance at your title, I'm fucking taking it, boy.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Impact. Everything else kind of, nothing else really left much of an impression on me.
Yeah. On Raw, you had The Rock finally return.
Yeah, that was actually a really good ending to the show, I thought. Just because, and I'll be honest, I know you disagree with me, but I think WrestleMania, just based on the 3 big matches that they have so far, is the best Mania card in a long time.
I mean, I'll agree with that, but I think that's more of a statement of the sad state of WrestleMania the last couple of years in terms of the final card than a massive leap forward in quality. I mean, to me, I just have no interest in Undertaker versus Triple H. I don't care what anyone says. Undertaker's last 3 matches have been decent and pretty good, but calling them among the greatest, people are acting like his last 3 matches have been among the greatest that have ever existed. I don't buy that. And me, adding the Hell in the Cell is kind of like someone putting a new paint job on a Dodge Dart. It's still a broken down old car that isn't worth nearly what it used to be. And, I just can't get excited about Chris Jericho versus CM Punk because I don't care. I don't care about Chris Jericho anymore. The guy's right up there with Triple H in terms of being overexposed. He may claim he reinvents himself every couple of years, but it's essentially the same goddamn thing, just a different style of jacket. He comes out to the same music, does the same moves, basically cuts the same "I'm Chris Jericho" promo. Will it be a good in-ring match? Hopefully, if they're given the proper time, but it's kind of like, it's so weird. They clearly knew they were going this direction for WrestleMania, and they never had a locked-in way to actually do it.
That's what I was
the mistake they made there, hi, James, but the mistake they made there was that they should have had Jericho win the Rumble.
Bingo.
Because nobody gives a shit about Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry.
Nobody cares.
That's the match
that got bumped off the card this year. It might not make it either. I mean, if they have,
it's going to open up the show. I would not be shocked if it opened up WrestleMania like Edge and Del Rio did last year.
Wasn't there like Edge and Del Rio last year though for the SmackDown title?
Yeah.
So I mean, that is the opening match. I mean, so.
I'm not saying it's a bad match, and I'm not knocking both guys. I'm just saying it's like, does anybody really give a shit? And this is part of the problem of having 2 world titles to begin with.
Exactly. Especially now that we have no brand to speak of. Raw guys appear on Smack. There is no... When we had, like, separate...
Super show.
Yeah, everything's a super show now.
Hey, well, when everything's super, nothing's super.
Exactly.
Just like in the...
Stealing lines from the Incredibles, are we?
Well, that's a good point. The Incredibles, and just like the Elmo special, when every day's Christmas, no, there is no Christmas.
Yeah. For those of you that might be first-time viewers, guess which one of us has young children?
There you go.
I might. I'm still waiting for those phone calls, but yeah.
Uh-oh.
I haven't heard from Chrissy in about 8 months.
Really?
Yeah, no baskets have been left in front of my doorstep yet, but I'm still waiting.
Now,
if you do, would you name it Clark? Like, because of Superman?
Sure, why not? Actually, I was thinking I would go for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe characters. Name one kid Clawful. Name another kid Trapjaw.
Trapjaw, that would get over at school.
Oh, totally.
Especially if it was the name of your daughter.
Oh, well, yeah. Absolutely.
I think that
name one kid Stinkor.
No. I'll say this. If I have kids, it's going to be an Eddie Guerrero, Dominic Mysterio situation.
I'm your papi. I just made Eddie sound Irish, but...
By the way, there is a segment in that match where the ladder match for custody of Dominic, where they had like the papers above the ring. For personally, I think they should have hung the kid because that would have been hilarious. But Eddie goes up there to try to pull down the thing. The spot is supposed to be Vicky, his wife, comes out and knocks down the ladder because she doesn't want to see Eddie do this to his best friend. Vicky badly misses her cue, and Eddie just winds up being up there. And at one point, he just has to kick the ladder out and like hang from the damn things. He falls, and you can very clearly hear him yelling, "Where the fuck was Vicky? God fucking screw her, fuck her, that stupid bitch!" Like, Eddie, she is your wife. You might not want to say that in public.
On live TV, no less.
Wait until you're married, you'll understand.
It's hilarious. Oh God!
When you've been married a few years, I imagine like calling each other bitch and fuckface kind of goes hand in hand.
Right before bed, yeah. I don't fucking enough of you. I'm just kidding.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
But no, and Patrick mentioned this. I hope he did mention it already on the air. My question would be, and I don't remember if we discussed it last week, is how are they going to actually assemble this thing, this Hell in a Cell, when usually they dangle it down from the top of an arena, but this is an outdoor football stadium that it's actually be taking place at. Are they going to have to put it together like the big blue cage that they used to do in the past, or is it going to be...
They might, if they do it that way, they might have to give the closing spot to Hell in a Cell.
They might have to give the opening spot to it either.
Yeah. Maybe, though, I'm wondering, though, is this one of those stadiums that can close?
Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that new. Unless they have something built that I'm not aware of, I don't think it's that new. Because I know that the Marlins have been playing in a shitty stadium in the bad side of town, and that's why they blame for things like 187 people turning up in the crowd. That's an actual number, by the way, that came to a Marlins game last year. They're getting a new stadium built.
Ring of Honor attendance.
What's that?
Ring of Honor attendance.
Yeah, exactly. They're getting a new stadium built in the better part of town, where they say is supposedly going to, cure the attendance at that area. But I don't think that the Dolphins have a new stadium. I could be wrong about that.
Speaking of Ring of Honor, I was reading the paper, the New York Post. I get the New York Post, even though I live in Maryland. But whatever. They had an ad for Ring of Honor's 10th anniversary show right there in the paper, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I think Sinclair bought Ring of Honor as a tax write-off.
All right.
What makes you say that?
I'm just saying they're doing a lot of things that I don't know why. They're clearly, after they've owned it now, close to a year. They keep running venues in cities where they only draw 500 people, and they keep announcing return dates. Yet they don't go to Chicago or Philadelphia or New York very regularly anymore.
That's weird.
So I'm thinking you have a small company that that is only going to generate so much money, and has a very finite fan base. Yet you keep running shows. And hell, they ran a show last week in Cincinnati, Ohio, a market they drew terribly at when Ring of Honor was at its hottest. So I don't know why they said, well, let's go back now.
Huh.
Which, to be perfectly honest, I don't want Ring of Honor to fail, but I do love the cornball Cornette isn't setting the world on fire.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just, I've said it before with Ring of Honor. It feels like they're kind of spinning their wheels. Like they're not really going anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's kind of been the case since the end of the Combat Zone rivalry. God, how many years ago now?
Well, their last major prospect that was exciting, I thought, was Tyler Black, and that was, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, he's been in FCW now for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do.
I'm not knocking Davey Richards, but I Tyler Black was the last guy they had that felt like, wow, this guy's really good.
Well, Davey kind of got screwed over. Well, not screwed over, but they kind of, I think, bungled the ball a little bit when they put the belt on Eddie Edwards first. It's kind of like, it'd be like if they had put the IC title on Marty Jannetty before Jim Neidhart instead of Brett and Sean. It's like, really, you got one, probably the best option for any type of real breakout success, and you go to his very talented in the ring partner, but that's the one you pick? And I'm not knocking.
Yeah, well, that was out of nowhere.
I'm not knocking Eddie Edwards, but I say it's kind of a Sheamus booking. It's like, okay, this guy's got a lot of talent and a lot of potential, but really, you're making him your world champion?
Oh well, but yeah, getting back to WrestleMania, I think we can all agree that the Rock Cena match is good, right?
Well,
and generating the most interesting part of the show.
Yeah, if there's anything that's going to get me interested in a John Cena match, it's The Rock. I just kind of feel like they're not going all out with it. Because I'm really kind of confused sometimes as to what the reason Cena hates The Rock is. Does he hate The Rock because he's not there all the time? Does he hate The Rock because The Rock doesn't take his phone calls? Does he hate The Rock because Rock's a bully? It's like he's kind of used all three of those as reasons. It's like, okay,
all three reasons.
I don't know. To me, it just kind of seems like they're trying to make John Cena seem like he's on that equal level with The Rock, and it's just like he's not.
The appeal of it is that it has this, it feels like they legitimately don't like each other, that's really good. What is that noise I keep hearing, that hissing noise?
Damien?
Might be. Okay. Yeah, we've got Damien on the line. But, I like that aspect, that it does feel like they legitimately hate each other. And I also like that it has that era versus era feel to it, where they're kind of forcing us to pick a side. And, most of us hate Cena anyway, so we're going to go with The Rock. So I love that report I read that said they are desperate to try and get a 50-50 reaction at WrestleMania, even though it's in Rock's hometown.
Exactly. Cena's lucky
so
when he
good
does
luck with that.
Yeah, Cena's lucky when he does get a 50-50 audience with people that watch, with diehard WWE fans that watch every week.
Oh, he was lucky to get one with Kane.
Yes, he was. It's like The Rock is something special. It's like I'm willing to bet there are going to be fans that are going to tune into the show and maybe even go to this show that haven't watched wrestling in years, because let's be honest, for a lot of people from that Attitude Era, The Rock's up there with like Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan are for you and James.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be a big deal. I think, and to be honest, I think we're seeing a master smoking John Cena promos. It's just like it's like people, pretty much anything Rock says, the people want to chant. It's like, seriously, let's see, you've got people to chant Fruity Pebbles, Lady Parts, Boots Asses,
Kung Pao Bitch.
It's like, seriously, this guy comes, I don't think I've ever seen any wrestler just drop it, just get so lucky with so many different catchphrases. The people will chant them. And if you put them on T-shirts, they will buy them. And that was always one of The Rock's specialties. The guy turned the word finally into a catchphrase. Everyone loves it. It's like,
and it's even better because we all dislike Cena so much that it just works so well. But I will give Cena a little bit of credit. I do like that they've dropped the whole, I respect you and everything. Hustle, loyalty, and respect, and blah, blah, blah. But no, man, it's like, just go out there and act like you hate each other. It's great. And it apparently Cena went off script. If you believe the reports, I don't know. And
look, I don't buy for one goddamn second that Vince's little pet went off script. He may have go much further than anyone else could go. But look, that guy is too much of Vince's little pet to risk to go off script.
Oh, he would do it if Vince told him to.
Exactly, he would. Yeah, he would go off script because Vince scripted something else.
But I'll say this: that closing segment felt like the go-home show to WrestleMania. So I'm like amazed that, God, we still got 4 weeks to go. Is Rock supposed to appear before Mania again, or was that it?
I don't know exactly, but I'm going to assume yes, he is.
Okay.
It might be a situation where some weeks he's via satellite, other weeks he's live in the arena, but I don't think, as much as I rip on the WWE, they know they got to have Rock in the arena at least one more time. You know, so because he appeared a couple of times, leading up last year when he was just going to be like the guest host. So I would assume that he's working a match. They're like, yeah, we'll get him, we'll keep him in he'll show up. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be week to week, but I think he'll be there. I mean, if he's not, it's going to be it's going to be, I think some of this excitement you're having might die off.
Yeah, kind of like at WrestleMania 20 when they were building up Goldberg and Lesnar, and Goldberg disappeared from TV, I think after the February pay-per-view. And we didn't see him again until WrestleMania. That was really strange. And it was funny because the last segment before WrestleMania 20 involved Austin going after Lesnar. And it's like, wow, that would have been a great segment if the match were Austin versus Lesnar. But
right.
It's not.
Yeah, and as we have famously found on the show before, the match where all three men left the WWE.
Yes, exactly. The loser, the everyone must leave match.
The loser leaves, the winner leaves, the referee leaves.
And it was the worst match ever. I mean, I would say that that's the worst match in WrestleMania history. I mean, that was just a complete disaster.
Yeah, it had a lot of potential. The problem is Goldberg wasn't happy, he was leaving. And WWE never really WWE always kind of viewed him as, well, he's a WCW guy. Lesnar was losing his fucking mind and was going to kill someone backstage if they didn't let him out of his contract, which they did, and then they kind of lost interest. Well, obviously, the plan originally was that Lesnar was going to destroy Goldberg and have it be established that he's the end-all, be-all, he's the ultimate monster in wrestling. Once he decided to leave, it was like, fuck, we'll just put Goldberg over since he's the face. And then Austin was unhappy, with his role and said, I'm leaving too. Yeah,
that was definitely a weird period. But so we have WrestleMania coming in 4 weeks. We'll definitely post more updates about that. Definitely do a WrestleMania preview at some point before the show. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we go?
There's nothing we need to talk about, but I do kind of have a funny little thing that I think I want people to check out on YouTube.
Okay.
Type in Dusty Rhodes Motor Madness. What Motor Madness was it was a show on TNN, the precursor to Spike TV, which it did like monster trucks, demo derby, stuff like this. At one point, they hired Dusty to start doing commentary, and they started doing wrestling storylines with the announcers, which was one of the worst fucking ideas I have ever seen in my life. This was like in the mid-90s, like 1997 when WCW was really hot. So it was insane. Like they did a storyline where one of the hosts got kidnapped, and it's the most ridiculous. Yeah, like she like I swear to God, WWE might be stealing ideas from this because you had a heel GM take over the Motor Madness show, and one of the hosts, Katie Haas, disappeared. And they sent like a private detective to find her. And this is the final segment. Dusty is on a cell phone talking to the private detective. And this is Dusty, so you know the acting is really bad. He's going, wait, you can hear somebody? You can hear a woman? You can hear a woman? Oh, wait, there's shoes? There's ladies' shoes in this building.
Hey, wait, you're going to win? You're going to win? Okay, we'll see you in it. Wait, what? The phone went dead. The phone went dead.
And you have like the two normal announcers, one of which is Ralph Shaheen, who is a very serious and very good commentator to this day, who actually now does NASCAR races. And you have another guy who I think was actually a monster truck driver himself and actually kind of hated shit like this, which kind of just made it look like it was stupid. They both just have this look on their face of, oh my God, this is the fucking worst thing ever. I'm doing it for a paycheck. I'm doing it for a paycheck. I'm doing it for a paycheck.
Yeah.
I swear to God, it makes John Cena at his absolute worst look like a good idea. It makes WrestleLicious seem entertaining.
I'll have to check this out now that you pointed it out. It sounds amazing. If I can throw another one out there that I was watching a few months ago, if you haven't seen any footage of the WBF, the World Bodybuilding Federation, do yourself a favor. Yeah, do yourself a favor and go YouTube it. It's totally worth it just to listen to the commentary because Vince McMahon sounds like he's going to orgasm. Look at that body. Whoa. And Bobby Heenan on commentary was just priceless because you could tell he just did not want to be there. He had one line where he was like, this is the most exciting sport ever. And you could tell he's not being serious.
Yep. Oh, God.
Yeah, so, yeah, good times.
Oh, God. Let's just say this. As bad as wrestling can be when it's on its own show, it gets worse when it starts when it kind of is taken on to other shows.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So that's all I got for tonight. You got anything else you want to add, Nick?
Just if you ever get kidnapped, don't let Dusty Rhodes lead the investigation. If a loved one of yours is ever kidnapped, don't let Dusty Rhodes lead the investigation because I don't think they ever did find Katie Moss.
Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, thank you for that bit of advice, Nick. Thank you to James for setting up the interview, and thank you to TAELER Hendrix for being our guest today. And this is Patrick Kelly speaking for everyone here at Wrestling Epicenter. Thank you for listening, and we will be back later with another show. And stay tuned for that, and have a good week, everybody.